This old man was the best dancer in his town. He wanted his grandson to take over after him, but the young boy falls into grief and gives up on everything. Will he be able to recover? Keegan is an enthusiastic teenage boy who lost his parents at a very young age. Luckily, he was adopted by his loving grandparents who were like his best friends. They used to work in a lighthouse at the river's end, but it was no ordinary lighthouse. Every night, Grandpa turned on the light to ward off a dark evil from another world, the huntsman. Legend said that if ever the lighthouse light went out, the huntsman would enter the river looking for spirit deer with magical antlers. Their antlers made the water in the river flow and keep life going on in this little town. If the huntsman ever succeeds in taking away the magical antlers, all the rivers will dry up. But for now, the lighthouse shines, water flows, and they all celebrate with their special tradition called the river dance. However, Keegan is more interested in being a DJ. He has even signed up for a party and goes to the music shop to get some great vinyls. The shop owner, Margot, wishes him best of luck for the party, but Keegan is still quite nervous. He takes the vinyl records to the lighthouse where his grandparents are waiting. Grandma asks Keegan to be more punctual because his grandpa is getting old day by day. Even though he doesn't accept it, he can't do everything by himself anymore. She gets ready to return home and asks her husband and Keegan to arrive for dinner at time. Afterward, Grandpa puts on his funky dancing sleepers and asks Keegan to play the song he prepared for St. Patty's party. As soon as the music starts playing, Grandpa dances in joy. However, his old age gets in the way and his back starts hurting. Keegan gets really worried, but Grandpa still keeps denying his illness. After sitting down, he starts working on his little project in which he has shown different aspects of river dance. Today, he is adding another character to the story, the huntsman. Grandpa tells Keegan that the huntsman is very dangerous and he should never be let near the deers. Otherwise, the rivers will stop flowing. It's not just a legend, but truth. Huntsman is darkness, and the magical light of the lighthouse keeps him away. Keegan doesn't seem to believe that theory, but helps in the lighthouse because it guides the ships. Grandpa still operates the lighthouse in the old traditional way, as the true spirit lies in that. While cleaning, Grandpa starts feeling unwell, so Keegan asks him to rest while he completes the job. But when he returns, it's already too late. His beloved Grandpa has passed away. After the funeral, all the citizens gather to say a tribute to the dead by performing river dance. Grandma tells Keegan to participate because Grandpa also loved dancing. However, Keegan doesn't have the spirit right now. Everyone keeps admiring how great dancer Grandpa was, and he kept the sea safe with his lighthouse. After him, it's Keegan's responsibility to look after this job. He goes to the lighthouse, but everything keeps reminding him of his grandpa. He blames this job for the death of Grandpa and decides to abandon the lighthouse. Little does he know that the legend was true. Once the lighthouse stops shining, the huntsman will return. Next day, Keegan keeps wandering around the town because he doesn't feel like doing anything. The grief has taken over his mind. His friends invite him to join a hurling game, but he refuses to join. He liked playing hurling only with his grandpa. Seeing his condition, Keegan's classmate Moya asks him to meet her at the waterfall at high noon. She doesn't state the reason, but says that big things always happen at high noon. Keegan doesn't reply and goes to the music shop to return the vinyls. He tells Margot that he can't be the DJ for tonight's party, but she tries her best to convince him. Though his grandpa has passed away, he can't give up on his own life. She suggests that Keegan should go for a walk in the countryside and clear his mind. She suddenly remembers that Grandpa always bought her candies when she was upset, so Margot tells Keegan to buy some candies as well. Keegan finds it a good idea and goes to the green fields to relax. He also brings some candies and sits down near the river to eat. However, the frogs surround him from all sides and steal the candy. Keegan gets really frustrated and climbs up a tree to hear some music in peace. He puts on his earphones and forgets about the world. After a while, the wind starts blowing really wildly. The sheep in the field try not to fly away by the wind, but all of their efforts are in vain. A black sheep grabs on Keegan and pulls away his earphones. While trying to get them back, Keegan keeps getting dragged here and there. He eventually ends up hanging off a cliff, but the sheep still doesn't return the earphones and swallows them instead. Moya arrives there and introduces Keegan to her new pet sheep. She assumes that Keegan came because she invited him to the waterfall. After pulling him up, she asks him to follow her on the crossing over the river. Before they reach the other side, Moya asks a riddle. What always runs but never walks, often murmurs but never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats? Keegan can't even balance himself on the crossing. How he is going to answer such a difficult riddle? He eventually slips and falls in the river, but instead of helping him, Moya wishes him good luck. She follows him too on a wooden plank, and they both reach down the waterfall. Keegan screams in frustration because he doesn't like getting wet, but Moya seems really calm. She asks Keegan to look carefully as she is going to blow his mind. Saying this, she starts dancing on the water. Keegan gets impressed and wants to know all the other secrets Moya is hiding. It's already evening, so they burn some sticks for light. Moya finally reveals how she found this place. She came here when her beloved grandma died. She also struggled to move on, but after coming to this magical place, she saw her grandma once again. Together, they did their favorite flamenco dance just like they used to do while staying in Spain. Moya still faces difficulty to fit in this new country, but she is trying her best. Therefore, she learned the traditional river dance to get closer to the new culture. Moya asks Keegan why he refused to be the DJ, but Keegan goes to sleep without replying. He just doesn't want to celebrate anything without his grandpa. The next morning, he gets woken up by the frogs. They are Moya's friends and even have names. Moya seems to understand their language and tells Keegan that the frogs are apologizing for stealing the candy, but they needed to feed their 50 kids. They came to meet them because they are looking for their lost kid, Adam. Keegan asks how Moya talked to the frogs, but she explains that it wasn't her. It was two deers named Penny and Benny. When Keegan turns around, he sees two giant talking deers. He pinches himself to check if it's a dream, but Moya confirms that it's all a part of a reality. She asks him to get ready because the other such deers called Megaloceros giganteus are coming soon. They all are unbelievably giant and have majestic antlers. They walk on 2 feet like humans and dance as well. They give him a marvelous performance of river dance which leaves Keegan mesmerized. He has never seen anyone perform in such a big group and with such unbeatable harmony, especially their leader Patrick, who has the biggest and most beautiful antlers. He greets Moya and asks about Keegan. She tells the deers about Grandpa's death and wants Patrick to help Keegan recover just like he helped Moya. He agrees and presents his magnificent family, but Penny slips and destroys the whole performance. She is struggling to learn the difficult Irish dance style other deers follow. Keegan feels sorry for her and believes that Penny should try another style. He requests Moya to teach Penny flamenco, as it is easier than the traditional river dance. Moya agrees and convinces Penny to learn flamenco dance. Patrick agrees to that as well, even though he is the inventor of river dance. He leads all the deers in dancing every morning so the rivers keep running and life keeps growing. Meanwhile, Patrick takes Keegan for a walk so he can learn more about Grandpa. Keegan gets upset while remembering his grandpa. He was a great dancer, a star hurler, and an awesome lighthouse keeper. There's no way anyone else can fill in his place. In response, Patrick says that we all feel a little lost sometimes, but luckily Keegan has come to the right place to fix himself. He takes him to show the rivers, because the rivers connect everything and everyone. The energy they create by celebrating through dance is given to the rivers, and they keep flowing. Their waters not only create life, they are life. The deers have been following this tradition for a long time. Patrick is the oldest, and has been living for more than 400,000 years. They even have stopped counting their ages as they never get old anyway. After visiting the rivers, Patrick takes Keegan to show him the most shocking activity of the deers. They play hurling. They even have made a proper game field and play using their antlers. The sports keep them in shape so they can perform the river dance. Only 3 minutes are left till the current game ends, but a few deers accidentally make their antlers get tangled so they get disqualified. Patrick asks Keegan to join them on the field so they can finish the game. Grandpa has taught Keegan everything, and it's time to make him proud. Keegan just needs to get on the field and do what he has learned all these years. The birds even build a helmet and a hurling stick for Keegan. He gets really excited and jumps on the field. All the deers are really skilled in this game and score one goal after another, but Keegan can't even touch the ball because of his small size. Patrick notices him struggling and asks Keegan to play like his grandfather is watching. Hearing this, Keegan feels a sudden spark of energy in himself and starts playing like a pro. He even scores a goal and makes his grandpa proud. After the game ends, Keegan goes to find the ball while Moya finally returns to show everyone what Penny has learned so far. Unfortunately, she performs on a hill and slips down, which makes everyone laugh. However, she is not giving it up so easily. Keegan has missed the playful scene because he is still looking for the ball. He ends up in a dark cave where he meets the notorious huntsman. He calls this place the bridge between light and darkness. Moreover, he tells Keegan that it was his mistake to abandon the lighthouse. It was an invitation to the huntsman. Now he will not leave until fulfilling his evil task of stealing the antlers. As a token of gratitude, the huntsman offers Keegan to join the world of darkness. He can give the boy everything he lost, including his grandpa. The deal is quite appealing, but Keegan knows how evil the huntsman is, so he refuses to join him. The huntsman leaves for now, but he warns Keegan not to tell anyone about him, or the others will know that it is Keegan who invited the huntsman. Keegan runs out of the cave but doesn't tell others what he saw. The deers assume that Keegan is scared of the darkness, so they tell him that the cave is actually the lighthouse of ancient times. Keegan must face his fears right now so he can banish darkness because he is the keeper of light. It's a responsibility passed from one ancestor to the next, all the way to Keegan. Hearing this, Keegan regrets what he did, but he doesn't have the courage to confess his mistake. Patrick brings the boy out of thoughts because it's time to move to their next destination, the Great Sea. Benny starts complaining about the long walking distance, so Patrick decides to show them the secret shortcut. It's the Great Gate that can lead them to the sea quicker. It is a gate through which spirits from past, present, and future pass. This makes Keegan wonder if his grandpa's soul also passed from here or not. Patrick introduces the boy to the gatekeeper so he can ask about his grandpa. The gatekeeper recognizes Keegan because he has many features of his grandpa, whose spirit passed from this gate recently. He was dancing in joy because he was satisfied that his grandson would keep his traditions alive and the lighthouse running. Moy comes forward and tells Keegan that here's the place where she met her grandma after her death. If Keegan wants to experience this magic, he needs to close his eyes. As he does that, Keegan finds himself in the lighthouse where he meets his grandpa. They dance together happily, and Grandpa advises Keegan to keep his traditions alive. This reminds Keegan of his mistake, which starts affecting the surrounding. Keegan gets attacked by the huntsman while Grandpa keeps telling him to turn on the lighthouse. Keegan opens his eyes in fear and realizes that they have been attacked by the huntsman for real. Luckily, Moya pulls Keegan in time and they ride the deers at full speed. The evil huntsman keeps following them and shoots continuously. He has made all the preparations beforehand and set up the traps. He swings down on ropes to get ahead of the deers and throws huge stones at them. He even pulls out a barrier, but the deers succeed in escaping except for Benny. Due to his chubby body, he can't run fast enough and get caught by the huntsman. He pulls out a sharp knife and starts cutting Benny's antlers. Patrick returns to save his friend, but the huntsman gets greedy after seeing the gained antlers of a leader. Patrick tells Keegan and Benny to run away while he handles the huntsman. No one can stand against the unmatchable strength of a true leader. The huntsman is almost defeated, but Keegan gets in the way. He comes to help Patrick, but the huntsman uses him as a hostage. He asks Patrick to give up or the boy will be killed. The huntsman wants the antlers to spread darkness all over the world and stop the flowing of the rivers. Keegan is willing to get sacrificed, but Patrick can't let that happen, so he gives in. The huntsman cuts off the antlers and the rivers all around the town stop flowing. Keegan sits down near the lifeless body of Patrick and regrets his life decisions. Penny comes forward and starts the river dance. It's time to say a respectful goodbye to their leader. Patrick turns into glowing golden dust and flies to the sky. Keegan can't fix his mistakes, but he can stop more disasters from happening. He rushes to the sea and finds the huntsman getting away in a boat. On seeing the boy, the huntsman asks him to be grateful as there's no more rivers, so no one needs to operate the lighthouse or carry out the celebration. The gatekeeper reaches there and tells Keegan that the huntsman should not leave their world with the antlers. Keegan has to drop the antlers in the water. Keegan looks around and finds a stick which is similar to the one used in hurling. Afterwards, he grabs some stones and throws them at the huntsman's boat. He also notices the fish willing to help, so Keegan asks them to change the direction of the boat. Keegan gets on the boat and unties the antlers. They fall in the water and a huge deer spirit rises out of the sea. It shines a light so bright that the huntsman gets completely destroyed. Meanwhile, Keegan gets carried by the fish who drop him at the shore. He also finds the lost frog, Adam, and takes it to its family. The gatekeeper admires Keegan's bravery and recovers his confidence by saying that he is truly a light keeper. The rivers start flowing, which indicates that a new leader has been chosen for the deers. It's no other than Benny. His antlers grow bigger, making all his mates jealous. They wonder why he has been chosen, so the gatekeeper explains that sometimes those you think are the least able prove themselves as the most capable. Keegan and Moya say goodbye to their friends because they must go back to the town to turn on the lighthouse. On their way back, Keegan finally figures out the answer to the riddle Moya asked. It's the river that runs but never walks, often murmurs but never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats. Moya confirms the answer and they both return to the town. After reaching there, Keegan realizes that magically the time hasn't passed much yet. despite them spending 2 whole days with the deers. He can still enjoy the St. Paddy's party. He immediately meets Margot and announces that he will definitely serve as the DJ. But before that, he has a bigger responsibility. Keegan wears his grandpa's hat and goes to turn on the lighthouse. He meets Grandpa's soul once again and promises to keep the traditions alive. Afterward, he joins the party and dances with his friends all night long.